All right. I love that new little voice. I'm like, okay. All right. So tonight so here's the deal. I have messaged Linds a couple of times, just getting some, when we started this business, I'm 7.5 years in. Okay. We had Facebook, like we kind of had Instagram, but we had Facebook. Instagram was post some pictures like once a week or something. Like we didn't have what we have now in the world of social media. And obviously, one thing that we have always said, and one thing I've always said is, I know that I'm not the most successful person in the room. I'm not the smartest person in the room. I'm always learning from other people. And when you look at people that are more successful than you, or you look at people that are better than you at certain things, you learn from them. Well, Linds is killing it in the social media realm with stories and things like that. So I asked her a few questions here and there, and I know a ton of people ask her questions. So we're trying to narrow that down so that everybody's not bombarding Linds all the time. But one thing I love is your story, in the sense of that you started this journey, you almost quit this journey, you restarted this journey, and now, you're killing it. And so I appreciate you and your time tonight, but let's just kind of start with that. I want to get into the social media stuff and then the behind the scenes of that even too, but why don't you just share your story? Like how did all that go up and down?
Oh boy. Well, first of all, hi, thank y'all so much. And to touch on what you said at the beginning, I don't mind the messages. I don't mind chatting and helping. That's honestly my favorite part of this industry. And just to start this with saying, all of my trainings are public. They're on my YouTube. I don't hide anything. I don't keep anything and say it's just for my team. I can't tell you. If you ask me a question and I see it, most important thing being I see it, because my messages, my requests, they do bog down sometimes. So if I've not responded to you at any time, please do not take it personal. Just message me again and to push it up, because the best thing about this industry is that it's not competition. We're in this together. And if I can help somebody, regardless if you're on my team or not, I'm going to, which is why I hop on Zooms for other teams all the time. And I love it. So just want to say that first, because I didn't want anyone to ever think that they can't message me or I am too busy, because I am neither is true. You are always welcome to ask me questions, and I am here for everyone. I cannot mentor everyone personally, but I can answer a simple question about a story, or I can point you in a direction to a training. But hey, hi, hello. I am Linds. I have been with Lavelle 3.5 years. And when I started, I hit it running hard. And if you heard my story this last year at Palooza, I kind of talked a little bit and touched on this just a little bit, but I hit it running hard. In my first 2 days, I hit my VIPs. In 3 days, I went 4K. In 11 days, I went 12K. My first month, I went 40. My second month, I went 80. And I'm still kind of young, but I was young. I was 24, and I was just tough shit, right? No one could tell me anything. I thought I knew it all, until I realized, you know what? I didn't. And I still don't, and I never will. But it took a moment of humbling down, because when you go fast and you see fast success, it can get to you a little bit. I've always been the same girl. I always will be the same small town girl. So my personality and my no filter did not change, but how I looked at resources was different. So when I say I needed to humble down, I needed to look at resources differently. I myself have never, I don't think I've personally ever changed, and everyone around me tells me I'm still I have no filter. So if I cuss, I apologize, but I'm still the same bitch that I've always been, is what my friends and family always say. And I always will be. And no amount of success will ever change that about me. But I did stop using resources, and I thought that no one could teach me anything, right? I was like, I did this so quickly, I got this, until imposter syndrome. And I don't know if anyone here, and I'm sure that y'all have experienced that at one time or another, but imposter syndrome to me is when you start to compare yourself to people, right? You get in this comparison trap, or you see somebody else come in and go fast, and you're like, oh, well, that's what I need to do, right? I need to be doing exactly what they're doing. Or, oh my gosh, this or that, right? You see people doing things who have been here for a day, and you're like, how are they 200K? Like, they've been here for 3 seconds. Like, what are you doing? And then you start to not really look at how far you've come. And I struggled with that in February of 2019. And I was ready to walk away because I was in such a comparison trap that I forgot to look at how far I had come. It was only looking at what I hadn't hit yet, which was 200K. And I was only looking at that aspect of it. Not that I had built a team, not that I was thriving for free, not that I was driving my car for free, not that X, Y, and Z and all the other amazing things that this company provides us. The only thing I was looking at is what I hadn't accomplished yet. So instead of celebrating all the things that I had accomplished and cheering myself on for all the things I had done and all the things that were amazing that a part of this company and just in general, all I was looking at was the fact I wasn't a 200K. And then imposter syndrome set in, comparison trap set in, and all the other amazing things that come along with mental health, right? And it hit me hard. And I also had just found out I was pregnant, and with my now 2-year-old Rylan Knox, who, if you were here at the very beginning, you saw him on my lap because he loves to be on Zooms. He's been on Zooms his entire life. I was on my first one when he was 3 days old. I was leading my first of my work with me with him when he was 3 days old. So he is not shy to them. But for me, all the emotions, I don't know if it was pregnancy, I don't know what it was, but I was ready to throw in the towel and I was ready to quit. My husband looked at me in the eyes, and bless his heart, he is the calm to my feisty. If you know my husband, if you have had the pleasure of meeting Rob, he is like mellow and I am like a firecracker. So I have, we don't call it anger issues because I'm not an angry person, but I used to be a reactor. And if you're like that, then like you go fight or flight, right? And you're ready to fight. Well, he's the flight. He's the let's fly it out a little bit here, honey. Let's see what we're doing. Let's just not go to war quite yet. And I'm the let's go. Like I'm killing something. Let's go. Like it's just how I am in my feisty personality. So if you have had the pleasure of meeting my husband, he is my calm and he tames me down in my feistiness, which I think we all need that little salt to our pepper, right? So when I told him I was ready to throw in the towel, he was like, no, first of all, no. And I was like, yeah, we're going somewhere else. And he was like, where the fuck are you going to go? And I was like, I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. And he was like, okay, well, before you go and like fly away, let's figure out what you mean by where are we going to go? And then the more I talked to him about it, I was like, nowhere, because everywhere else sucks. I was like, nowhere, because what I had my hands on was amazing. And I was the one that dropped the ball, not the company, not the product. The product didn't stop working. The company didn't stop working. I stopped working. And it was because I got comfortable. And he was like, maybe it's time to go look in the mirror and call someone out. And I was like, yeah, okay, thank you. Sit back down. And so after I threw my little hissy fit with him because he of course was right, damn him, but he was right. Very thankful for him, but he was very right in that sense, not all the time, but in that sense, he was right. And I needed to look in the mirror and call myself out on my own bullshit. I needed to realize that the products wasn't the thing that wasn't working. The comp plan definitely wasn't the thing that wasn't working. The thing that wasn't working was me. I got comfortable. I allowed myself to coast. I allowed myself to do the things that I had always been doing, when in reality, it wasn't much. I came in and I had hit my market hard, right? But then there comes a point in your business, and everybody experiences this, where your warm market, you've hit it, right? Not that every single person in your warm market has joined you, but the excitement goes away unless you don't allow it to. So I had to learn how to stop allowing my excitement to go away. And that is when I decided to start to rebuild. And that year was my personal most successful year until this year, which I am very honored to say that this year beats that year. But 2019 was my most successful year in this business because I decided not to quit on myself. I linked arms with those who wanted it. It was 2 people at the time. Out of an 80K team, there was 2 of them left that wanted this, and I dug in deep with them. And there were times where I hosted my Monday night Zooms where it was just me and one other person. There were times where I hosted my Monday Zooms where it was just me, and you bet your butt I still did my training and I recorded it and I posted it to my team for anybody who wanted to watch the replays. And there are still people who will be like, who was on that Zoom? And I say, nobody. I was literally talking to myself, because at the end of the day, if you're not willing to lead a team of 1, AKA yourself, you can't lead a team of thousands. You have to be willing to lead yourself. You have to be willing to be your biggest runner. You have to be willing to show up for you before you'll ever be able to lead a team of thousands and show up for thousands. Because if you think it only gets easier as your team grows, it does not. And I don't even have anywhere near as large a team as Amber does, but y'all, I can tell you right now with what my team does, it is not something that gets easier, but it doesn't need to be, because it's worth it. When something is easy, it's not always worth it. And self-growth, y'all, this is literally self-development with a paycheck. And the quicker I realized that when I grew myself and I grew my mind and I stopped being a whiny little baby about everything and stopped trying to blame the products and the company and took realization with myself, the second I took back power of my business and I ran hard, I ran after everything. And my team did hit, not only my team hit 200K, but my husband is also a 200K leader. So we are both 200Ks underneath the same household. And the next title will be coming very soon. But yeah, so that's basically where my little backstory.
I love it. You're like bringing the fire already. And here's the thing is you're right. Like as we grow, like, yes, things fall into place. And when you create layered leadership, yes, things will fall into place, and some things manage themselves, but it does get harder because now, we're here for all the people, but at the same time, we're still growing, like I still, one of my friends, she was shocked when I was talking about, qualifying for Punta Cana. I was like, oh, I still, I need one more of this. And this was last month. I was like, I need this one customer. And she was like, what do you mean? She's like, you still have to qualify? Like, I thought you just like get to go because who you are and where you're at. And I was like, no, that's actually the most awesome part about this business is we're all equal. We all start from equal. We all start from level ground. I gotta work just as hard. The difference is I've already talked to all my people. Like I gotta find new people. So let me kind of just touch on that on when you said imposter syndrome, like immediately I'm like, and it's not necessarily like comparing yourself to, other people. It's comparing yourself to how good you were at one time, or like, oh, I used to be this, or I used to be that, or I did this, or I did that. I mean, I think of not only success in business, but I also think of I used to be a size 6, like that.
Kids will do that to you. I used to have abs at one time, and maybe I didn't, but I swear they looked something like it. And now I definitely am nothing near abs. So yeah.
We do. We compare ourselves not just to other people, but to ourselves. And here's the thing: if you did it once, you can do it again. That's the bottom line right there. Like if you came in and you've got yours for free, you can keep growing your business. I want to talk on. I know I don't want you teaching social media necessarily, but a day in the life of Linds on you growing your business, because I know like how do you dig in to grow your network, because we've talked about like I don't know if you use $80. I know people have talked about $80, but it's kind of the same process, just not with $80, like looking for people and hashtags and all that stuff. So like, how do you find your people to connect with? You already have a big following. So obviously when you post, people see you. How did you get to that point?
So, well, first I want to say something about imposter syndrome is a lot of times it's comparing yourself to what your ego is telling you you are. And my biggest thing is you're not as important as your ego tells you. And I had to remember that hard. And sometimes that's a slap in the face, because if you have an ego issue, this industry is going to be very difficult for you. And I'm speaking from experience, because like I said, back in 2019, I almost walked away, and that was an ego thing. That wasn't a me thing. That was an ego. Well, it was a me thing. It was a me ego thing. And there's either room for you at the table or your ego, but not both. And I can tell you right now which one is going to get you farther. And it's always been betting on myself, not my ego. So at the end of the day, I am never ever too good to sit at a table with anyone. I am never too good to hear what somebody has to say. I am always a learner, never a know-it-all. I want to learn everything. I want to be at every single table. I want to hear all the things. I don't want to be the only one speaking. I want to know what's going on, and I want to be present in the room, and I want to hear from other people more than I want to be speaking, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to touch on that, because ego is a really, really big thing, especially in social media. You can get wrapped up in that following count. Like you said, I have a large following, but fun fact, I actually hit the top of our company with less than 300 followers on Instagram. So a lot of times people are like, yeah, it's really easy for you. You have 21,000 followers. Okay. But like 18,000 of those are thrivers. And I'm not exaggerating. My following is heavy thrivers seeing what I'm doing. Now, do I get all of my recruits, all of my potentials from social media? 100%. I'm 100% based. I've never actually done a local or been to a local. This weekend we're doing, if anyone is near Florida and you would like to come, please come. This weekend we are doing in Orlando with Drew Hoffman. We're doing the mega event, and that'll be my first local that I've ever been to, and I'm helping organize it. So we're hoping it won't be a dumpster fire, but I don't think it will be, because the panels are insanely amazing. So if you are near, please come and join us. But
I'm going to interrupt you really quick on that. You're going to love it. Honestly, locals is where we all built our business. You know, when we started this, we're like, locals is where it's at, getting people in a room, getting that excitement. So you're going to freaking love it.
Well, I'm excited. It'll be my first one. And I plan to spend 2022 being in as many rooms and with as many people as I can. I have an entire retreat tour planned for the entire year of 2022, flying all around, doing locals and all the things. So yes, come, please. But that stigma around that number, right? That 21,000, you look at my page and you're like, well, no wonder people join her. But the thing is, I didn't have a single person who actually knew me join me until I was already 200K. One, so I grew completely on social media. And two, I hit 200K with less than 300 followers on my Instagram. So I went from 300 to 21,000 with a lot of thrivers. But the difference is how I choose to build my business is on my content, not through the people who follow me. And you're probably like, well, what's the difference? Well, for me, I build and get people in my inbox based on like my stories, my reels, my posts. I add value to my content more than I focus on who is following me, more than I focus on how many likes I get, more than I focus on how many views I get on my story. I focus on the value of my content and making sure that content puts out from my fives list. And if you have watched any of my trainings, you know my fives list like the back of your hand, because it wouldn't be a Linds training if I didn't mention it. If anybody has seen me train before, I talk about it, and I'm actually talking about it this weekend as well. But my biggest thing is, if you're not making reels, if you're not posting daily, if you are not being consistent at all, with your business, your closed sign is open, is not, it's literally posted on your business. For me, my social media is my open sign. If I don't have things in my stories, if I don't have a reel up and I don't have a post up for the day, my closed sign is flipped. I'm not open for business. So my thing is, if you expect to grow your network and you're not using the resources that Instagram and Facebook provide to you, you're just expecting it to grow for you, but not doing the things. I hear all the time, people are like, how do you do it? How do you do it? And I go and I look at their page, and the last time they made a post was 7 days ago. They have nothing in their story, and they don't have they've maybe made a reel once. Y'all, I make a reel and post a reel every single day. I don't make a reel every single day, but I have batched content to make a reel. So I have it posted every single day. My stories, the only time in 4 years that I have not had something on my stories was for a single day last month when I had a miscarriage. That was it, because I took 24 hours off to heal and be with my husband and my baby. But that is the only time in 4 years that my social media has not had action on it. Y'all, when I tell you that 24 hours, after that, I went back, and it was almost like my open sign was never gone. Because you know why? Because all the work I've done consistently compounded into it. And when I came back last month was one of my most personal successful months. I was number 2 on the Rocktober board. And this is on a rough month, y'all. So when I tell you how important consistency is, I mean, consistency is the most important thing you can do for your business. If you want to grow your network, get consistent. If you want to build confidence, get consistent. If you want to build a business, get consistent. I hear all the time, how do you get a customer? And then I go and look at your page. I'm like, well, would you join you? Look at your page and ask yourself, and look at your stories and look at your last post and literally ask yourself, would you join you? Because I can tell you right now, at least 3 to 4 times a week, I go and I look at my own social media for that day and ask myself if I would join myself, if I would message myself to ask me a question, if I would anything on my page on Facebook and Instagram, would I have any idea in my stories? I go and I look at my stories. Okay, is there anything on there that I would send myself a message for that is enticing and attracting? Okay, my reel for the day, do I have a call to action where they can click the link in my bio to at least request a free sample? If not, do they know that I can customize them a cart or help them run a business? Okay, my post, do I have a call to action to where they know I can help them run a business or to get a free sample or to customize them a cart? These are the things I ask myself when I do my self social media audits, because at the end of the day, that's how you're going to build a network. If you are so focused on that following number being 10,000, you're missing the point, because a following count never built a business. There are influencers with hundreds and thousands of followers that make diddly squat. Like, they make nothing compared to what we have our hands on to be available to. But yet they look cool, they look fancy because they have 100,000 followers. I need you to remove the importance around the following number and attach that importance to the value you're adding to your content and the consistency you're wrapping around it. It takes time to build a social media business, but I'm going to tell you right now, it takes a lot more time if you're not consistent. So the more consistent you are and the more honest you are with yourself and what you aren't doing daily to form your routine and within your IPAs, think about it. Think about if you got consistent. Residual income is built 60 to 90 days, right? So what we do today isn't really, yes, we're getting paid out on Tuesday, but the reality of it is we're really building for 90 days from now. What would happen if for 90 days, instead, you already know what it's like not to show up, right? So what would happen for 90 days if you just showed up? You would have a bomb ass business. You would have something to call home about. You wouldn't be messaging somebody and say, hey, how did you enroll a customer? Because you know exactly what you need to do. You need to show up. You need to have your open sign open. You need to be available. You need to have something to where people are asking you questions, not just an email from Lavelle when they launch a random weekend promo, right? I'm talking about, are you taking your products and showing, are you taking your products every day? Show of hands of how many, well, unless you're on detox, because it's a struggle bus right now, but show of hands, how many people, and those detox pills are still in my stories because I'm struggling, y'all, but we're on day 8 or day 9. We're on day 9.
You can do it. I'm on day 12.
Oh, I can do it. Lord, I'm so excited to be a day 1 thriver again. But for real, how many people here take their products every single day? How many people? Okay, so if every single one of y'all just raised your hands and everybody saying me, raising your hands and all the hands are going up, how many of you guys put your products of you taking your products in your stories this morning? Not everybody's hands are going up. A lot less hands I'm seeing on this screen. The chat is not moving as fast. So let that be a wake-up call and a reality call to you that if you did not put your products in your stories, why? Ask yourself why. Sincerely ask yourself why, because let me tell you something. Yes, it might be consistent to you, but you have somebody who potentially could view your story today that has never seen your story before, but because you only post your Thrive on Mondays and Wednesdays, but Tuesdays and Thursdays you don't. Well, there are half the internet that is only going to see your stuff on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the days that you chose not to post. So my thing is, if I'm posting and I know I'm going to post anyways, why not make it something that's going to grow a business? When you're making reels, people ask me all the time, how do you know what you want to post about? And my thing is, well, if I don't know what's going to go viral, but I have an opportunity to go viral, I'm going to kick myself in the ass if it is not a Thrive related post or a business related post that goes viral and it's like a picture of my dog. I'm going to be like, well, that was a waste of a viral opportunity for people to see me and message me, right? So for me, every single one of my reels is going to have to do with growing a business in some way, product, opportunity, or industry related, because then if any of my reels pop off and they go viral, well, guess what? My business is attached to that. So for me, every single day when I'm showing up, I have in mind my business. If it was not for this business, I would not have social media. I genuinely dislike social media, if I'm being completely honest with y'all, right? It's a weird world out there, but it grows my business. So you know what I am going to do? I'm going to show up on it every single day to grow my business. It is also, when you are growing your network, keep in mind that if you would not discuss this topic at Thanksgiving table with somebody, keep it off of your social media. If you would not sit across from your grandma, your grandpa, your mom, your aunt, uncle, whatever it may be, and talk about what you want to put as a status or what you want to complain about for the day on social media, then keep it off of it. Social media is not a diary. If you want to build a business, it's your storefront. What do you want your brand to be? Do you want it to be based around what you want to complain about or what you're talking about, or around your business? So really, really think, are you building a business? Would you follow you? Would you message you? Would you be attracted to your profile? And then my last thing that I always ask every single person is, why did you join the person that you joined? Do more of that, because that's what attracted you. Do more of that.
Absolutely. And follow the people that are, more successful than you. What are they doing? Like, what, if you don't know what to do, what are they doing? And copycat. I mean, like copycat and make it yours. I will say, when you said earlier about, would you follow you? That was my original thing, was like, are you negative? Are you bashing people, or those things? Like, I'm not going to follow those people. I'm not going to buy what that person's selling, when the post prior to their sales product post was them bashing teachers or something, right? Like, I'm not going to do that. That turns me off. So would I do that same kind of post? And then on the consistency, no, it is, because when things happen, and Linds, I've already talked to you and told you in Vegas, and again, I'm so sorry for your loss. But if you're consistent, when life happens, same with us in May, when everything came to a halt, when Carson broke both his legs, like I had to drive across freaking Texas, like drop everything, like in that moment, I probably didn't post Thrive on social media that evening, like that was not at my forefront, but it's always been there. So there wasn't some like, oh, look, she hasn't posted Thrive in 3 months, and then same thing, we talk about consistency. When life does happen, this is why you connect your people to someone else, because I was immediately able to have all my people that were using me for three-way chats to say, hey, Maria, I'm going to be losing signal while I'm driving to Lubbock. Can you take these chats and calls. Well, they already knew her because I connected her, she's my personally enrolled. And so like, if you're not connecting people when life happens, they're going to be like, well, I'm not going to call her. I don't want to bother her. Like they're not going to reach up, it's not going to be normal. So being consistent, those things, it makes, when life happens, it makes things easier for your team as well. I
call it
ask you,
doomsday prepping. Sorry, I call it doomsday prepping is what I tell my team. I'm like, if you aren't prepping when life is not hard, what are you going to do when life gets hard? Are you just not going to show up? So my thing is, I doomsday prep is what I call it. I always help. My husband's like, what are you doing? I'm like, doomsday prepping, prepping for the apocalypse. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I'm batching reels. Go away. He's like, oh, okay, I got it.
Hilarious. And see, I think more of the line of like, you don't have to get ready if you stay ready. So it's like, you don't have to scramble and freak out when you're already having life happen. But doomsday prepping works too.
I'm okay. Extra, it's fine.
So let's talk, how you interact with people, the 3-2-1 that everybody hears about that you do. When I talk about the people like, oh, I have to do that every day. Like, like it's just part of consistency. But let's kind of dig into that really quick. What is 3-2-1 Linds style? What is the purpose? How do you do it?
Right. So, and I'll also touch on that doing it every day because I have a lot of people that IPAs overwhelm them. And that's okay if IPAs overwhelm you. I'll also touch on an easy schedule that you can kind of follow if you'd like also, Amber, that I share with my team. It's in our onboarding schedule, but 3-2-1s are something that I do on both Instagram and Facebook. I get a lot of questions. Do you just do them on Instagram? No, I do them on both. Whatever I do on one platform, I do on the other. It's 2 birds, 1 stone in my eyes. If you're making a post, if you're doing an interaction, you do it on both. Like obviously not the same people interactions on both, but you do the same type of task on both. So that way you're constantly building on both and giving energy to both. I'm a firm believer that what you put energy into is what you attract. And so I tend to put most of my energy when I start my day into my business. So my first hour is my IPAs. But 3-2-1s is when you go to a profile or an account and you like 3 pictures, you comment on 2 pictures, and you interact with 1 story. And the most popular question I get from that is, well, what if they don't have a story? Well, then you would just skip that part of it. If you have anything that you can interact with, right, then I keep them around. This is also how I unfollow people, because I hear a lot of questions always like, how do you weed out your network? Like I'm following so many people based on like who's following me. Like my following number is so high, I can't follow anymore. Well, you really need to weed out who you're following, because not all of those people are going to be who need to be in your network that you can interact with. So I don't interact with people that I have nothing in common with, that their last post was 2017, or that I look at their page and I get just an icky feeling. And if you've ever seen, if you're on social media, there are people, if anybody on social media makes you feel any type of way, unfollow them. I'm going to give you permission right now. They're not going to build your business anyways. So unfollow them. So for me, if I see somebody's story and I'm like, nope, then I unfollow. Like if they make me feel any, and I literally make that sound, so it's okay. If I get any sort of feeling, I unfollow. So in 3-2-1s, as you're doing them, this is a really good way to also weed out who you are following, to kind of make room on your network to follow some new people and push them to the front of your algorithm. When you do a 3-2-1 on someone, you're going to notice that you start to see their stories more and their posts more, which also helps them become a part of your community on social media, because social media is one big community. That's what they want it to do. They actually don't want us selling on it. They hate that we can use a free platform and they can't make any money from us. So they make it difficult for us. So the more you make people a part of your community, meaning you interact with them, you send them messages, or they send you messages and you interact back and respond like that, the more they're a part of your community. The best thing you can do on top of those 3-2-1s is to respond to all comments and all messages. Those things within your 3-2-1s are going to be huge. So if you send somebody a message and they respond back to you, don't just like it. actually respond back to it. Because what it's going to do is it's going to really tell the algorithm that you guys are a part of each other's community. And not only are they going to start showing you their stuff, but vice versa. And a lot of times after doing a 3-2-1, if they aren't following you and you have something in common with them, and that's what you're talking about, then they're going to follow you. So my 3-2-1s, I don't do anything around Thrive. I keep it around my branding 5. So things that have to do with me, I don't just hop in their inbox. So if they are like, oh, 7th cup of coffee a day, I don't say you need Thrive. Like I hop in their inbox and I'm like, girl, that was me too. I used to be a nurse. I was drinking 5 to 7 cups of coffee. Isn't it awful? Like that's kind of how I would do it, if that makes sense. You wrap it around you, not around Thrive. And then if they're like, yeah, like, are you still doing that? Or like you open that conversation to be able to say, yeah, like, I'm so thankful I don't need coffee to survive anymore. So it keeps the conversation going without you saying, hey, you need Thrive, here's a free sample, or hey, here's my sample link, go ahead and request one. You're starting to build a conversation, and it might go nowhere related to Thrive, but it might go everywhere related to Thrive. So you really, 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 the less you go into conversations wrapped around them joining you or Thrive, the more of a natural conversation it's going to be, and the easier it is to build those relationships and those connections. My personally enrolled are like some of my best friends. We talked before, like we have connections and relationships. So when they join me, it's not like a weird leader friendship, right? It's like, hey, like I know your kids' names, I know your husband, I know why you're here, I know things about them, right? Because we've spent time talking. I get to know my team before they enroll. So that way when they do enroll, it's like a fun relationship, right? It's like, hey, we're actually like friends doing this, and 3-2-1s help that a ton.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just kind of dial that in right there. Like, guys, what she's saying, build a relationship. How many times have you heard all of your leaders say, you got to build that relationship first? You know, you've got to build a relationship, even if it's, oh yeah, I used to do coffee. Oh, okay, great. You know, like it doesn't always, then the next response is, oh yeah, I need what you have, but building that relationship. Okay. And I love, you know, the unfollow, using your 3-2-1 to unfollow, because so for me on Facebook, I utilize birthdays, obviously to tell people happy birthday, but I also utilize that to unfollow people that I don't need to follow, you know, I'm like, you know, like,
and if they don't say thank you, I unfriend them, because like common courtesy.
Okay, but wait, there were times that Maria would message me and I didn't respond and she never said happy birthday, because it wasn't in that 3-month time period, but she would
respond. Well, yeah, but I only do it to happy birthdays, because like if someone wishes me happy birthday, if they're in my inbox and they're like, happy birthday, girl, I'm like, thanks so much. I'm like, I don't know.
I'm like, let's not tell people just because people don't
unfollow them if they ghost you or ignore you. I've been ghosted so many times, and I don't unfollow or unfriend them, but I do use my birthdays. If I wish them a happy birthday and I'm like, hey, happy birthday, like any plans, and they leave me on red for a week and they have zero interest, I'm just like, all right, like you clearly don't want to talk to me.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny. Yeah, because you know what's funny is when Mario would ask me if I was ready to thrive with her yet, like we had already been talking, whatever, but when she said, are you ready to thrive with me yet? I didn't answer her because I didn't want to be rude and say no. So I was super polite and ignored her instead. Like, you know, because you don't know what to do. Like, you're like, yeah, you know, so yeah, but I like that on the happy birthday part. Okay. Linds, I don't want to keep you forever. I appreciate your time. Okay. Somebody said, how do you use Facebook for 3-2-1?
So my favorite thing to do for my 3-2-1s and how I do them. So Facebook, I do them on people who view my stories, because they're already kind of looking at your stuff. I do them. Facebook has a fun, excuse me. I swear this detox makes me have the hiccups and burp more than I've ever done in my entire life. It's very attractive. Welcome to Linds. But so my biggest thing with Facebook is they have a friend section where you can do recently friended or recently added, and you can go there and you can do 3-2-1s to all the new people. You can do 3-2-1s based on like hometown, based on cities, based on interest, based on all sorts of things. Facebook allows you to filter your friends through that way. So you can just kind of take a day and say, hey, today I want to do do 3-2-1s in my local area. So you can go and do them to everybody who's local to you. You can say, hey, I want to do 3-2-1s with people I went to high school with. So you can do 3-2-1s with people who went to the same high school as you. So stuff like that. On Instagram, I do it to my stories. And then I also do it on my following. So like people I'm following, I do a couple different ways. I default filter. Sorry, I have Great Danes and they're a mess. I have 3 horses that are Great Danes and they are a mess. I apologize. You will hear all sorts of noises in the background. No one's dying. It's just dog life. So on Instagram, I do my stories, and then I also do, I go to my least interacted with. If you click on the people you are following on Instagram, it'll have sections: most interacted with, least interacted with. That least interacted auto populates every single time you leave it. So it gives you new people every single time. And then you can also filter your, please stop eating my cord. Thank you. You can filter your followers based on different things. So date followed latest, date followed earliest. Date followed latest is people you just followed like 5 minutes ago. Date followed earliest is people you've been following since the day that you created Instagram, and it will auto populate that list for you in those orders. So you can work your way down, which is also why I really love to use 3-2-1s on unfollowing and unfriending, because it'll allow you, like, there were people I was following that I had no idea I was even following from like when I made my Instagram in like 2009. And I was like, who are you? I don't even know who you are anymore. And so I would just like unfollow. So that helps a lot as well.
Okay. That's awesome. Okay. So I'm going to run through, as there are some good questions. I'm going to run through and just check on, kind of throw you some questions.
Cool.
Let's see. Okay, that's the beginning. We're talking about how I'm going to be cold when I go to Minnesota. By the way, if anyone is near Minnesota, we're going to be at that local with Paul Thursday night. So either go to Orlando or go to Minnesota. Those are your 2 choices right now. All right, let's see. Oh, y'all have a lot of comments, but I saw questions. All right. Oh, somebody said, do you have those questions typed up somewhere where I can audit my own profile? I think that was the questions on how you're like, if your profile or if your media or
basically just look at your page and ask yourself, would you join you? Is basically what it is. Would you join you? Look at your stories. Would you message you? Look at your reels. When was the last time you posted? Do you have anything related to Thrive? Basically look at your page and ask yourself, are you offering, like, are you sharing? Because the biggest thing is that if you are not sharing what you have to offer, who's going to? You can't expect because you made a post a year ago that people still know that you're doing Thrive. If you haven't done anything in a year, people they forgot, like they done are like, hey, like, who are you? Like, they don't know. So unless you're there every single day, and also on top of that, you plant seeds every single time that you make a post, whether you're aware of it or not, but you plant a seed every single time you make a reel about it, a post about it, you share to your stories, you plant a seed in somebody's mind about Thrive, whether the products or the industry. It's your job then to water that seed. Because if you just leave it high and dry, it's never going to become anything. But the more consistent you are, that's you watering it. Because if somebody asked you a question a year ago, like y'all, I had somebody enroll with me as a customer 2 days ago. And I grew up with her. She's known me since I was born. And she asked me about Thrive when I first started. And then all of our conversations have not been about Thrive. She's never shown any interest in the product since then. And then randomly said, okay, here's my card number. Like, I need that gut health duo. And I said, yes, you do. You're right. So we got her on that. But literally, it's because I was so consistent with sharing everything. So you have to water seeds no matter what it is. And if you stop sharing, just randomly stop sharing one day because you're like, no one's paying attention, well, that's when people just then start to pay attention. When you feel like no one's watching, that is right when people are about to start messaging you and in your inbox. But if your inbox is dry, look at your profile. Look at it and see what your page looks like, and then ask yourself, would you join you? And something that I tell my team all the time is, if you are uncomfortable and don't know how to work social media and don't know what to put in your stories, and you're like, well, I don't possibly know what to do, look at a leader who uses social media. If social media is something that you want to learn, watch a leader's story who uses social media and has a business similar to what you one day would like, and mimic what they're doing. Don't copy, but mimic. So if you see them in their stories with taking their 3 steps in the morning, get in your stories and do the 3 steps. If you see them post about sample packs, get in your stories and talk about sample packs. If you see them making a thirst, get in your stories and make something around Thrive. If you see them make a reel, make a reel. If you see them post about life, post about life. It'll get you into a routine of sharing in your stories, because at the end of the day, if you don't do anything, if you take nothing from this Zoom except for how to be consistent with your stories and posting, I would be so dang happy, because you would be so surprised at how much you can do just by being consistent in sharing and posting. And I'm not talking about posting like a picture from corporate's website. I'm talking about pictures of you, pictures that you take, because something that a lot of people don't realize is those company graphics that you post on your feed and on your Instagram, they get shadow banned, because think of how many people share that same exact picture. You're shadow banning yourself. And what, if you don't know what shadow banning means, it means it's not getting pushed out to your audience, so no one's going to see it. So if you're wondering why people aren't liking your stuff, you're wondering why your network isn't growing, you're wondering why your inbox is dry, take a look at your page and ask you how much of it is you. I say this all the time. The company has spent millions and millions of dollars branding Lavelle. Lavelle brands Lavelle. They know what they're doing. Do you brand you? Or are you so busy trying to brand Lavelle? Lavelle does it all on their dang self. What you need to do now is you need to have thriving and you, and become you're a thriver and make it one. So my page is, I'm Linds and I'm a thriver, but when you look at my page, it's Linds is thriving, because they're one and the same. It's a lifestyle. It's meshed together. My picture is me. My caption is about me, and the products are me, and the opportunity are me, and both, right? It talks about stuff like that, but it's wrapped around my life. It's no longer just, hey, here are my 3 steps. It's, hey, like, I need these to survive. And then they're like, well, what do they do? There's a difference between, hey, these are my 3 steps, and these 3 steps, y'all, let me tell you how much I love them. There is a huge difference. When you're sharing your personal testimony and you're sharing you, you're branding you. I think a lot of times people get wrapped up in that word brand and branding, and they're like, I don't know how to do that. When in reality, it's just be you. We don't want you to be anybody but you. And I don't know a single leader that would ever, at least none that I would be friends with, that would ever tell somebody, don't do that. That's weird. Like, y'all, I literally am the weirdest person on earth. And you know what I did? I went out and found other weirdos, and I built an empire. It is what it is. I didn't try and be anybody that I wasn't. So stop trying to be Lavelle and be corporate and brand, and instead be you, and just be you boldly and proudly. And more importantly, don't be a closet thriver. Y'all, get out of the closet. Do not be a closet thriver. Share it. If I could scream it from my top of my roof and not go to jail, I would. But I'm pretty sure my HOA would. Yeah, I can't even sneeze in my own backyard. So I'm pretty sure that I would get in trouble for that. So at the end of the day, ask yourself, are you so wrapped up and so nervous about being so bold and proud about Thrive that you are just not sharing about it at all?
Well, and then the same with, not being over salesy, because, it's people buy you before they buy your product, right? And are you selling the product, or are you sharing how you would not go without this product? Because then they're like, well, wait, what does it do that you don't go without it? Like what, then they're questioning, right? And I'll tell you, for me, I'm one that gets in my own head. And even though, yes, everybody's like, I don't know, they put me on some pedestal, but oh, you're Amber, you're this, you're that, you've been here 7.5 years, whatever. And I'm like, No, like I'm freaking human. And so I do get in my own head, and there for a while, like, although I was consistent in posting my stories, I started like, well, you know what? Maybe I'm too annoying. Maybe I shouldn't post every single day the capsules, because maybe people are like, oh, there she goes with her capsules again every morning. And, getting in my own head. And I stopped posting about Auto Bonus Tuesday for a while, because I was like, well, people think I'm bragging, and I don't, they know I earn my auto bonus. I'm not going to brag about it. And then I was like, wait a minute, like, this is who we are. This is why we are where we are, and everything else is because of those capsules every day, because of the Autobus, all those things. And so when I started back on the consistency of that, people would then all of a sudden, I'm getting messages, hey, do you really get that auto bonus? Hey, and so it's that whole, hey, I'm not posting for the people that have seen me for 7.5 years and still don't want to be a part of this. I'm posting for the ones that I've friended since, that are, in my circle, in my journey, that are maybe cheering for me, whatever. Because then I want to turn around and cheer for them. And then the same with when you're sharing. So this detox, like, first of all of you on detox, trust me, you can get through it. I started pretty quickly, because I was like, I just want to get it done. Like, that was my mentality, right? Was I'm just going to get it done. At first I was going to wait till after Halloween. And then I was like, screw it. Like I started on Friday. Halloween was on Sunday. Or maybe I started Saturday, but whatever. But on Halloween, I was like, I'm just not going to eat the Reese's cup. It's fine. But the thing with this detox is I was posting every single day about the detox, and that got me back in the habit and back in the consistency, because I did kind of have that whole, I'm posting all the time about my Thrive, is, are people getting tired of me 7.5 years later? So I was posting not as often, but still every day, just not, I don't know. It's weird. But with the detox, it was a whole new subject, right? So I'm posting pictures of what I'm eating and all of that stuff. And here's another, I'm going to give you all this little tip. When you said in the beginning, are you looking at how far you've come or at what you haven't accomplished? Because all you saw was not hitting 200K yet at that time. I'm going to tell y'all, I've had so many people asking about the foods on detox, and like what you can't have, what you can't. Stop focusing on what you can't have. Like, focus on what you can have, because fish, fruits, veggies, peanuts, soy, edamame, like all those things, hummus, like those are that's a lot of food. That's a lot of food that you can't have. So it's the same thing with your business. Don't focus on what hasn't happened yet. Focus on what you can, and stop thinking deprivation mode and not available to you mode. I don't know what you would call that.
But like, even with that, sorry, but like, even with that, I hear all the time, I want to thrive for free, right? Okay. But then you get one customer and you're like, well, it wasn't two. Okay. But you need one to get to two. Like, you have to celebrate every single thing that you do. And I tell my team this all the time, because I've been asked before in my stories by other leaders. They're like, you literally post every single time you enroll a promoter and a customer. Like, there are some days where that's all your story is. And I'm like, well, yeah, those are some days. I'm a mass enroller. It's what I do. I'm not sorry for it. I'm very confident in who I am and my capabilities. But the point of it is, I celebrate every single one of them. Some days it's none. Some days it's 10. Some days it's 1. But at the end of the day, if you want to be able to enroll 100 customers one day, you have to enroll 1 to start, don't you? So you're so worked up on, well, it's only 1. Okay, but how are you ever going to get to 100 if you don't start with 1? Or, oh, well, I don't have my auto bonus. I'm not a 12K. Okay. But how are you ever going to get to 12K and earn your auto bonus if you don't start today sharing about it? So share all the little things and celebrate all the little things. Otherwise, when you do thrive for free, it's no longer a big deal, because you're like, it's just thriving for free. Y'all know how special that is? That is huge. There are
That's
companies that
$150.
they pay so freaking much monthly. And here we are, spoiled brats that are like, oh, it's thriving for free. It's normal. That's not normal. You need to celebrate it. I celebrate that every single month. every single month. Every time I enroll a customer, thriving for free. Every single Tuesday that I get a paycheck, every single auto bonus. My husband is now, we got back from Vegas and he's decided he's a social media guru. So y'all pray for me. Lord help him. But he made a reel today about Auto Bonus Tuesday. And I was like, you do you, boo. And you know what? He has 2 promoter potentials in his inbox just because he got consistent since we got home from Vegas. He's like, I've been listening to you. And I'm like, well, that's a first, like, goodness gracious, right? But it's building a business for him now on top of just me using social media. He's using social media. So you have to realize that if you do not celebrate that one customer, that one free account, that one promoter that joins you, that one sample that you send out, how do you expect to send out more samples? How do you expect to enroll more customers? How do you expect to attract more promoters? When you don't show that you're growing, people don't know. And for me, on the weeks that I share the most and celebrate myself, I always tell people, I'm like, I don't really need you to celebrate me because I'm very happy. Like, I'll celebrate myself. I'm okay. Like, we are very happy over here is what I say. So at the end of the day, you have to understand that if you can't just be happy for yourself enrolling, it won't matter how much you enroll because it's never going to be good enough. Just like you can't be ungrateful for that $5 paycheck you'll never be thankful for the $5,000 because it's never going to be enough. My first paycheck with Lavelle, I couldn't even transfer. And if I were to, Lord, with what today's was, like, y'all, you cannot get discouraged on the one thing that you can't do, or the one this or the one that, because you're never going to get to that hundreds, that thousands, that whatever it is that you are so excited and so working towards, if you're not willing to celebrate yourself at the one every single time.
Well, and exactly, because it does take one, and it's all about being joyful and grateful where you are. And I will never forget way back. I mean, Jason and I've been together 21 years, right? That's a long time. But we've been together 21 years. And prior to that, like, my friend had to put me in my place because she just kind of looked at, she's like, when is it going to be enough? When are you going to be grateful and joyful with what you have? She's like, I want somebody to date me. Oh, I just want to get married. Oh, I just want a house. Oh, I just want a baby. Oh, I just want this. And she's like, when is it going to be enough that you're going to be grateful where you are? And that, I mean, I was like, oh yeah. And so like, those are the things that put you in your place. You know, what do you want? You have to be grateful to start with, one more question and then we'll let you go. Yeah. Linds, do you do customer service appreciation? Oh, it scrolled up. And if with your customers, and if so, what do you do?
Yeah. So, I do actually, and this is another topic that I'm talking about in Orlando this weekend. So, you should come, but, my biggest thing is I'm a giver, because you can't expect to get if you don't give. And if you are only giving to get, that's not how it works. So for me, I earn our Auto Elite, which if you don't know what that is, it's $1,600 instead of the $800 monthly. And I tell my entire team, no matter what your rank is, aim for those Auto Elite requirements. So by the time you are 40K, it's naturally an increase in your pay, because that's an extra $9,600 a month. And my husband and I both earn it. So it's something that your customers should be treated like royalty. If you struggle with enrolling promoters and you are not treating your customers like they are your powerhouse, y'all, our comp plan is so set up, like, it's amazing. You could be a powerhouse promoter enroller, powerhouse customer enroller, whatever it is, you're going to succeed here. So at the end of the day, treat your customers like royalty no matter what, because they are going to be the bread and butter of your business. For me, my customer service with my customers, I do a couple of different things. For appreciation gifts, I send all of my auto ship customers who do $100 or more a month, I send them a free Plus Line product that I buy with my product credits. And then like this month, and I send them a handwritten thank you note also. And then this month, on top of, they either got heat or chill this month. And then I also gave them a packet of the salted caramel shake to try. So I sent out the new shake flavor for them to try because it is amazing. And then what else? So I do that every single month with a thank you note. Or if I'm not, like when last month was crazy busy for me, life happened, then Vegas. So instead of a gift and mailing it out, I just sent all of them $15 in product credits for free shipping on their auto ship order this month. So those are a couple different things that I've done for my customers and that I always do. And then something that I do for my customer service is all of my customers are in my phone. They all have my number to text me. They all know if they need something, they can text me. And then even more than that, I make sure that whenever the company launches a promo, instead of having that email and expecting people to read their emails, because before Lavelle, I never looked at my emails. Like my emails were atrocious. I had to make a whole new email address just for Lavelle because I didn't know what to do with the one I had. So that's in doomsday. But I made sure that I create a graphic just about that promo. So I'll take the email that they send me and I'll go into Canva or onto Instagram stories and I'll highlight over it and I'll like add my picture to it, or I'll add it into, if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen my story promos where I have like an iPhone and then the graphic inside of it. Whatever I do with my little picture there, whatever I post on my stories for promos, I also I text to my existing customers individually. So they also know, and it's also with my face on it. They know it's me. They know they're getting a personal touch and they know that the person on the other end of the line is me. So I make sure that I always do that personal touch. They know that they get me if they text me. They know that every single month they're going to get some sort of appreciation and a thank you. And then I also have 2 customer things. I have one overall customer group for myself and my team that I run. And then I also have a private Instagram account for just my my customers that I run giveaways and promos on monthly for.
I like that. The Instagram ideas for giveaways and stuff. That's awesome. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I hope y'all took tons of notes. I took notes again. I'm always learning, guys. You've never arrived. There's always room to better yourself. I love that Jason Camper threw out the hashtag I am better. There's always room to do better, to be better, and to give more. So thank you, Linds. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget, Orlando this weekend, Minnesota on Thursday. So we hope to see you there. Cannot wait. I'm loving them going to Minnesota. Don't get me wrong. I'm not ungrateful, but I'm a little jealous. I'm not going to be in Orlando with the sun. So
Thank you for having me.
thanks a lot. Bye, everybody.